down, but you also don't want to hit the apron. So it's not like you go out there and lock your arms and it just stays there. It's not that perfect of an arc around the corner. So, you know, you're just trying to be smooth and run a nice line that doesn't scrub any speed. So, and then, you know, the question always is how, if the car feels like it's kind of bound up and wanting to be freed up, do you let it off the corner and run more distance on the exit, or do you keep it pinched down and run a shorter distance? You know, back in the IndyCar days, it was all about the shorter distance because we had so much power. But in these cars, you know, we're at terminal velocity, it feels like, for the whole lap for the most part. So there's really, you know, you don't want to scrub too much speed, and there's so much heavier to get going again. So it's a little bit different than what I'm used to.
Our current pole sitter, waiting it out with us, Danica Patrick, just over 196 miles per hour. Earlier, we showed the Ghost car, our Fox concept. There's Danica in the 10 car. But Tony Stewart, owner-driver, right there, that's the image. And Danica, you're watching with us. Take us through a little bit what you see here, what you're doing.
I mean, he, you know, obviously he's got the lead going through 1 and 2 there. He looked like he set up a little bit more for it. He let the car kind of unwind out of the dog leg. Oh, there's some Hendrick power.
There you go.
You know, it's all about not scrubbing. So, you know, going through the corner, you're trying to hold it down to the line, but you don't want to scrub it too much. So, you know, you can see that we're both pretty low.
Was there wind when you were out? Did you sense it?
You know, that's another thing, too, that you can't quantify with this, is that, you know, what was the weather and what was happening. But, you know, it very well might have been something to do with wind. That's always interesting. I think that the lines are what the only thing that we can really control out there. We're holding it wide open, so it's just about the line and how does that differentiate between one driver and the next. So, so that's cool. I think that's a really cool thing that you guys let to show the fans that you know, there are different lines that you can take out there.
And our 24th driver out of the 45, and that is Denny Hamlin out. Now, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the relief. Assuming the front row, we can assume nothing, but if it holds up, how does that take some of the pressure off for next Sunday for you?
It's nice. It's, you know, I think it's as I said, it's good for the team and it's good for GoDaddy, but it's really nice to know that no matter what happens in those duels, that you're going to be on the front row if that's where I, you know, can end up qualifying. It's such a weird thing, this qualifying and then going into the race, because you put so much into qualifying and it's so important, and they worked so hard over the winter on it. But then for the most part, other than the front row, it's over, and you have to race to it, which is such a crapshoot, to be honest, in the race. You've got to be lucky. You got to make sure you don't get crashed out. I mean, there's just so much else that goes into it. So, so it would be nice to know that what they've worked hard for over the winter is actually going to show up on Sunday for race day.
Yeah, the last pole winner to win the Daytona 500 back in 2000 was Dale Jarrett. So it doesn't automatically, once we actually get to the race. What did you take away from the Sprint Unlimited last night in observing or watching?
I thought that things looked a little bit more calm than I thought they would be. I mean, obviously based on practice, we all saw a lot of exciting things happen. So it didn't look like people got unhooked as easy as they could have. So I mean, obviously I noticed how good Tony was out there, of course. So that's good to see as a teammate. But I think you're going to see a lot of good racing. It didn't look like there was much bump drafting at all. I mean, maybe on the start you saw a little bit of pushing, you saw a little pushing here and there, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary.
Hey, Danica, I mean, you have had some great runs at Indy. How does Daytona and Indy, how do you compare the two? Is it winning a pole here today? I mean, that has to make this a little bit more special than Indy, I would think.
I mean, it would definitely be a high point memory. I think that you know, Daytona has such a legendary following. It's you know, I recently heard that, I think it was yesterday, somebody said that winning the pole for the Daytona 500 was like media-wise winning the 4th biggest race. It was like winning the Daytona 500, the Coke 600, the All-Star race, and then the pole for the Daytona 500. So so it's clearly followed, and it's clearly a very, very important moment in the year, and speaks volumes about the team and their hard work. I think I know as a fan, when I'm watching TV and I see a bunch of drivers talking about the car and talking about how the crew did a good job, and it honestly, what the fans need to understand is that, you know, we're holding it wide open out there, but there's those drag numbers, there's downforce numbers, there's all these different things that happen out there on the track, that it's not just a car. There's so many little things that the team does to get this car ready to go out there and be low drag and be fast and be aerodynamically sound, and the engines are so powerful. So, you know, that's why this means so much for a whole team.
Thanks, Matt. Clint Boyer is just on the side of the Hollywood Hotel. He's coming. He was
put my earpiece back in. I was talking to Clint.
So he was heckling you. What was it? He was asking if you held it wide open. You're making headlines.
I don't know. I don't know if were you holding it wide open was nice or not, or like,
no, he was
are you saying because you're fast or because you weren't fast enough? I'm not. I mean,
does he think you're sandbagging a little here? There's nothing to hold back. You're on the pole at the moment.
Yeah, it would be great. Like I was just saying to Clint, yeah. Driver to a driver, I'm like, this is about the team. I mean,
that's right.
I just hope that I didn't do anything and scrub any speed that would take away from grabbing a pole, and especially when it comes down to the little bits. It's you hope you did the best you can, but again, we'll just see how it shakes out. I mean, so far so good.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. We got.
Top 3 spots.
We're about halfway through.
Stewart-Haas, and you're on top.
That's pretty big.
You've talked about the teamwork here. You're the driver, the racer, the quarterback, the leadership. You're in the limelight. That responsibility.
I guess I'm more the cheerleader.
So you said that. I did. Okay.
I was actually a cheerleader.
Just for the record, I know that. Yes. Back when before you took to driving, and thank goodness you did. But that responsibility that even if you do stay on the pole all week, as Daryl's often say, gives you a whole week of bragging rights and a lot of attention.
I think that something that I learned over my career is how important you are as that cheerleader and as that quarterback for the team to kind of set the mood for everybody and pick them up when they're down or tell them how good of a job they did. I mean, I went down the wall and gave everyone a high five on the way out, on the way to walk out here, and I think it's important. They need to know how important they are, and they need to feel like they're part of the whole thing and appreciate it. Yeah, it's something that I've learned over the years. You've got to play that role. Yeah, you do, and they look to you. But to be quite honest, sometimes on teams there's more than one quarterback. I mean, I think Tony Gibson plays a great role too. He has been with his crew since like DEI days, he said, which doesn't even make sense to me. I don't even know. But different time. It was a different time then. But he's been with those guys so long, so obviously he's a good quarterback for his guys too, and that's why they've been together so long.
Well, thanks for coming into the Hollywood Hotel. Good luck. Have a Coke Zero and a smile. And
have a Coke and a smile.
And appreciate it. Good luck either way. And we'll see you on the Daytona 500 a week from Sunday as well. And Clint Boyer is coming up. We can hear him in the distance. You're watching pole qualifying for the Daytona 500 live on Fox.
She started a video called The Fastest Girl in Town. We didn't realize that she would literally be the fastest girl in this town. Congratulations. I know you said you were nervous before the day started. What's the overriding emotion now?
Pride. I'm proud of all the hard work that goes into making a pole car. It's not just turning left. It's so many other things. It's all the attention to detail that these guys put in over the winter, and I can't be more proud of them. Happy for them. Happy for GoDaddy, who's been so supportive and patient with me to get to the point of racing full-time Sprint Cup. Hendrick obviously gave me a great engine, and this is a fast Chevy.
This just isn't any pole. This is the Daytona 500. Not only do you get to milk this all week long, but you now get to race in the duels Thursday without any reservations. How much of a relief is that?
That's a really big deal because qualifying for the Daytona 500 is an interesting thing because there's so much work that goes into this car, and if you're anywhere but the front row, it's hard to see on race day. So there's a lot more left. I mean, the race is where it's really at to get to the end and to have a fast car and be in the right place at the right time. But this just speaks volumes about Stewart-Haas Racing. I thought we were going to be 1, 2, 3 for a while, didn't you? But I think it just shows what a great organization it is, and when you put a good group of people together, what can happen.
You have Tony Gibson obviously behind you, and you guys to go to make your notes and start talking about Sunday's Daytona 500, knowing Stewart-Haas Racing is in such great position. You have to go into that race not just confident, but pretty assured that you could have a Daytona 500 championship by the time the day's done.
You know, watching Tony last night, it showed, how solid the cars are. And as I said earlier, I am not Tony Stewart. There's no doubt about that. But it just shows that as a team, we hopefully will be strong. And in fact, that's what he said last night when I sent him a message of how good I thought he did out there. He said that he thinks we'll all be strong, and I hope he's right. We're strong in qualifying, so hopefully good things to come.
On Sunday, it'll be the green number 10 leading the field to green in the Daytona 500, and we're going to hear from your boss. Steve Burns is standing by with Tony Stewart.